Well, you know the popular saying, third time the charm. When your first and second attempts were already the charm, what exactly happens when you reach that third attempt? Spider-Man 1, yes. Spider-Man 2, yes. Spider-Man 3, eh. Arkham Asylum, yes. Arkham City, yes. Arkham Origins, good, but doesn't live up to the first two. Shrek 1, yes. Shrek 2, yes. Shrek the third, fuck. Hi, I'm Daniel, and I'm delving straight into the world of the movie video game adaptation with Shrek the Third for the Wii. I think I very briefly remember asking my parents to buy this game when I saw it at a store, and when a 7-year-old has a reaction to a Wii game that isn't just put it away after 5 minutes, it probably means it's more than just some shitty shovelware, and hey, maybe it has enough to make a video about. The game is released in 2007, the same year that the movie came out, and it actually has a consistent version across all of the home console versions of the game, which is unlike other games of the time, such as Spider-Man 3, which is wildly different on the Xbox 360 and the Wii, for example. So, let's try it out, shall we? So before we start, let me just explain that the capture card we're using is like the worst piece of imaginable. Me and my friend just bought it so we could quickly record our new Super Mario Bros. Wii multiplayer speedrun, which, yep, that's a thing, so the video will be a little bit fried. The audio, however, I did figure it out and it will get better, so don't worry about that. Also, when I first tried to record the footage, it turns out I was such a gamer as a kid that I had managed to ruin my nunchucks. So yes, one dedicated trip later to the outside world to buy second-hand ones in much better condition. Alright, I survived and I have new nunchucks. It's a good day today. Oh, So also, unlike other movie video game adaptations, this game actually has a sound explanation for its slight detour from the movie's plot. Basically, the game technically takes place after the movie, where we see Shrek and Donkey sit down to watch a puppet show that is loosely recounting the events of Shrek's adventure from the movie. That consists of having to seek out Arthur as the next king after Harold dies. So in the game, we are playing the puppet show that they are watching. Got it? Good. So the game starts with the tutorial with Shrek in a funny costume and Donkey making an interesting comment.
I think Fiona's going to be angry.
Oh, definitely. And don't forget about her mom. She's gonna be really angry. And the princesses, they get mad just getting dressed in the morning. Don't ask me how I know that.
Donkey!
The game consists of shaking the Wiimote to attack, shaking the nunchuck for strong attacks and breaking shield, collecting fairy dust to build up special attacks. And yep, as you'd imagine, 90% of the game involves risking a lifetime wrist injury. There are also collectibles to find, which as far as I can tell, do quite literally nothing. No unlocks or anything, but I will not be testing that out by collecting everything. Yeah, I may have 240% Arkham Knight, but this is where I draw the line. Oh, and also throughout the game you play as different characters, but the gameplay doesn't really change a whole lot. Also, this game has a combo system. Well, according to the level summary screen, this is referred to as your style, which I think corresponds to the highest style that you get during a combo in the game, but I can't exactly tell what actually triggers your style to increase. It seems the numbers don't have any attachment to them, so in between some levels, the game features cutscenes from the puppet show, and honestly, these have some charm to them, more than you get from shitty CGI cutscenes anyway. The first real level involved the short trip to the boat with dogs on the way for some reason, and we get our second playable character, Puss in Boots. He can double jump, and his ability is to use his cute face to stun enemies. The next level begins when we reach the ship and features the same gameplay loop, but wait! We have an Easter egg.
We're going to the wide open spaces of Antarctica. To the wild.
We get an introduction to shielded enemies which feel a bit jank because you must use a charged up strong attack to break the shield, and the enemy will often get a hit in before you're charged up. Finally, my other wrist can get in on the pain! The next level then starts with the I'm pregnant joke from the movie, but worse, and Shrek's reaction to fatherhood looks more happy than anything. Alternatively, he could also be stoned. Now, something that I didn't realize is that this game is actually groundbreaking and led the way for games in the future. For example, this game doesn't have any consequences for you dying as far as I can tell, and lo and behold, 10 years later, Super Mario Odyssey would come out and do the exact same thing. Alright, back to the game. So we reach Worcestershire and we get our first introduction to the witch enemy. You have to throw an object at her to break her shield, but of course if you're too close to it, it doesn't count. Man, I love it when you can't tell if it's a bug or intended. And then the level ends.
I wonder what that was all about.
Me too, Shrek. We get to play Donkey in the next level. Alright, next. We make it to the school grounds where we need a key for the gate, which gets stolen by some kid for some reason, so we need to chase them down. We do that and Shrek verbally abuses the kid.
You are not high enough level to exit this maze.
Shut up!
One quick push section later and we're in the school where Artie bamboozles us and says some other guy called Lancelot is him, which makes other guy mad, and the level ends. While playing this level, I realized that, hey, this game would also go on to inspire GTA 5. Shrek's ogre power, which you can use when you max out the fairy dust meter, slows down time and makes you more powerful. Sound familiar? Makes you wonder why this game wasn't the next big thing after Half-Life 2. Alright, because it's boring as fuck. From here, we start the side story where Prince Charming, in his bid to take power over Far Far Away, imprisons the princesses, and thus we play as Sleeping Beauty in an attempt to free the other princesses. Her special ability is to seduce the enemies and coerce them into doing things she wants. Read into that how you will, but that is how she escapes her cell. Also, there are some sections where she can slowly float down into other areas, and we have our first boss battle of the game with Cyclops. All the battle is hit, move away or block, and repeat. Remember that. We return to the Lancelot spat and get our first instance of the towers minigame, and the instructions are overlapping each other. That's a good sign. Basically, you have to launch a catapult or use the crossbow to hit the targets directly or collapse the towers they're on within the time limit. It's not bad, I guess, but it seems like a weird amount of effort to design an entire minigame like this and only use it twice in the story. Although this minigame does make up the multiplayer mode of the game, so it's not entirely wasted. Anyway, after we win the battle, Artie explains that we have to go to some magical ice lady and complete some quest as part of his final school exam, because we can't have a dropkick as the new king, right? So begins the ice levels of the game, and honestly for some reason I think that this is the part of the game which I remember the best from playing as a kid, probably something to do with the distinct environment. We meet the magical ice lady who explains that our quest will be to drop a coin into the well, but then Shrek goes on to explain that we don't have any coins, so... Wait, what? What the f*** are all these coins that we're collecting then? They couldn't have written something that doesn't directly interfere with the gameplay? Anyway, brings some high heel shoes to the magical lady and she gives a coin, at which point Arthur completes the quest and the level is done. Also, this game was clearly the inspiration for glory kills from Doom in 2016. Don't know how that hasn't been put on Wikipedia yet. Stun an enemy and you can perform a finishing move. id Software took one look at that and thought, that's what's missing from our game. Now we get a boss battle against a dragon. Oh my god, they made a custom health bar for it. Just give them their Oscar already, my god! Yeah, it seems all the effort was put into this health bar, because remember what I said earlier about the Cyclops boss fight? Remember that. This battle really just boils down how well you can jump and attack, then run to avoid the dragon's attack and repeat. Evidently, I'm not too good at that, because I did die once. Okay, twice. Good thing this game is so brave in not having any consequences for dying. From here we return to the side story and have to endure another Cyclops fight. Wow, I wonder if they're going to keep recycling boss battles. Eventually we free Fiona, at which we start playing as her. Her special ability is to break through weak doors and move blocks. This moving blocks ability is sometimes integral to progressing through rooms, so if a block needs to be moved, the game will simply keep spawning enemies to make sure that you have a constant supply of fairy dust, which is really annoying because there's a chance that when you get hit, you lose a bunch of fairy dust and you have to spend even more time fighting enemies. Guys, I swear it's not me that's bad at the kids game, it's the game's fault. Go on, I dare you to defend Activision. Captain Hook Forest Ambush, defeat enemies and done. Next. Their ship gets f***ed and the game gets even longer. We find Merlin, who accidentally leaves us out of his teleport and makes the game even longer. We find him again and tells us to find some magical shit and the game gets even longer. We do the boss battle and find Merlin again and the level ends. Fucking hell, I'm not used to things being this long. Okay, back up a second because I did mention a boss battle in there. For this one you have to jump back immediately after you attack to avoid the enemy, so this one boils down to how fast you can press A after an attack, which evidently I'm not too good at because I did die a few times. Anyway, once again Merlin fucks up the teleport intended for Far Far Away and we land in some evil queen's castle and the game gets even longer. This level is full of platforming as puss and beating enemies. This is also one of those levels I remember somewhat distinctly as a kid for being incredibly shitty and frustrating, and oh, that was actually quite piss easy. I guess I was just a stupid kid. And in unrelated news, I'm one of the few dozen people to own a Wii U in Australia. We hear Pinocchio scream for help, which leads us to our toy workshop, and I will let you guess what we do here. We find Merlin again and finally get thrown into Far, Far Away. Thank fucking goodness.
I'm gonna cry!
Don't do that. Anything but that.
But did you see all those evil wooden puppets?
Don't worry about them. None of them are half the puppet you are. Now tell me what's going on in Far, Far Away.
Oh, it's terrible!
Sorry. Just checking for my reflection. I read that not seeing your reflection is a sign of being in a dream. Miraculously, I can still see my reflection. In the meantime, Charming is putting on a stage show to show off how good he is or something. I really don't care anymore. The second and final occurrence of the tower minigame to break into the prison, and another Fiona level with the worst boss battle, which is doubly impressive because it's the same fucking recycled enemy from earlier. The tolerances are so tight here that you genuinely have to press A the millisecond after you attack, and God forbid you fuck up just once or you get the chance of that stupid instant death attack. Anyways, ultimately this is just a kid's game, so how bad can it be? Did you know that the difficulty of Dark Souls was, you guessed it, inspired by this very section in this game? Anyways, it was getting close to the end of the game, and I think the developers must have been running out of time, so they just recycled this enemy without adapting it properly. I mean, there isn't even a death animation for this enemy. I think it's pretty safe to say that EA saw this and thought, that's our money ticket right there. And finally, the last level. We make it into the town. Charming finds us just in time for the show, and Shrek gets bound up. Wait, what type of show is this? Artie has a speech about finding the true purpose of becoming king. We free Shrek, and he pelts Charming off the stage. Thank God it's over. You know, maybe I'm bashing this game somewhat unfairly. The worst thing is its repetitiveness, but it seems that many developers were actually quite influenced by the game and went on to incorporate things from this game into their own. This game has you play as different characters. That must be where Rockstar got the idea for GTA. Come to think about it, that combo system. Rocksteady must have played this and thought, we can make this better. The gift shop where you can buy different costumes. Every game nowadays lets you buy costumes for your characters. Shrek the 3rd was released on multiple platforms. And bam! Now Sony are releasing their games on PC as well. The Castle Attack minigame where you can play multiplayer. Surely that was the influence for Mario Kart to include multiplayer in its game. The way the game has a completely fixed camera. I think Nintendo got the idea to lock down Super Mario Galaxy's camera because of this game. Holy shit, is that Skipper? This intertextuality is where Marvel must have got their idea for the multiverse. Oh my god. You can move around in a 3D plane. Do you know what other game allows you to move around in a 3D plane? Skyrim. I think I found out why Skyrim is so acclaimed, guys. Something doesn't add up here. Oh! Jeez. I think I fell asleep there. Well, if there's one thing I can accurately confirm about this game, it's boring. Who knows. Maybe the B-movie game demo can redeem Shrek the 3rd for Wii.
It's pretty much all honey with us. Everything's honey. We make it, eat it, pack it, and ship it. Woohoo!
Well, I think Barry shares just as much enthusiasm as I do there. Okay then.